Chris, aside from budget spends and project delays, have you experienced project cancellations as well through the quarter we've closed up? Because we've heard about teams being dramatically downsized.
No, not really. It is when projects come to a close and then new business has to come in. The velocity of new business coming in has significantly come down. So you have seen, there is a lag effect with respect to our business when you compare that with the overall economy. And this year, 11.7% growth. It's still growth, right? So there is a lag effect, and that is because the new business is coming slowly, much less velocity.
Shibu, for the dollar revenue guidance that you set out for FY10, just for the first half of FY10, what have you factored in terms of project wins you get from the two verticals of BFSI and telecom? What kind of growth are you factoring in there?
So, BFSI has seen a marginal downturn this quarter. See, we have not really lost.
It's down almost 9%, right? In constant currency as well?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I think Bala can give you the numbers. But the point is that even in BFSI, we are winning clients and we are winning deals. We have not lost a single client, even in BFSI. So we are not factoring any major downturn in any one of these segments. We are, even in the tough times, even today, the two verticals which are the most impacted would be manufacturing and retail. And if you look at our quarter-on-quarter growth, quarter-on-quarter numbers, you will see that they have gone up in percentage terms. So we are expecting that there will be balanced growth across the verticals over the period of time. Maybe not on quarter-on-quarter basis, but over the year we would expect balanced growth.
Bala, just on two fronts, you spoke about how much prices will come down, and even after offsetting, your margins may come off by 300 basis points. On two specific counts, SG&A costs and employee costs, how much do you think you can manage to offset some of the pricing damage?
On the employee front, I think in the last few years, we have given industry-leading wage increases. This year, because of the economic situation, we decided that there will not be any wage increases for now or any promotions. We'll take a view on that once the environment improves. So there is no escalation of costs on the employee side.
Zero increment as of now?
Yes. And going forward, you'll see if the economic situation improves, definitely we'll relook at it. On the SG&A side, we assume we may spend more on sales and marketing, because these are times we have to put more money on the kitty and make sure the model is sustainable for a long term. So probably sales and marketing could go up by around 1%.
Chris, every year some business comes to an end at Infosys. Every year, some projects end and then you have to replenish that business. Are you finding it difficult at all in this environment to replenish the business which is coming to an end in fiscal year 2010?
Yeah, so that is the reason why the growth has come down. The business is out there. The decision making takes longer. Also, discretionary spend is minimum at this point. I think everybody is waiting for an improvement in the economy. We are seeing signs of that. And if it is sustained, I believe that things will be better this year than what it is today.
Shibu, in the landscape, especially for the US, are you sensing a lot of vendor consolidation happening? And in that process, is it becoming a bit of a tussle between winning the project and lowering the price?
There are vendor consolidations happening. I wouldn't say it is very, very widespread. There are vendor consolidations happening. See, pricing has to be managed as a portfolio, right? You have to look at pricing as a portfolio. Our aspiration is to have high margins. We have managed the pricing very well even in these tough times. As I said, our pricing has only gone down by 1.4% and 2% quarter on quarter. We take a client by client approach to pricing while managing the entire portfolio.
Bala, you set out your employee hiring estimates as well for the full year. Are you still working with that 20,000 campus offers for FY10? And also, what is the bench strength right now against your workforce?
Our utilization is around 66.9%, including trainees. Next year, we are given offers for 20,000 people, and that is assumed in the guidance. We want to honor all the offers we made in the campus, and most of the hiring guidance for next year is all the campus hiring.
Chris, I have to ask you a question on Satyam, because now the game is done. On hindsight, Did you feel any kind of regret that you did not participate? Because you could have bought an asset which probably has $1 to $1.5 billion of revenues, albeit with overlaps, for $600 million or plus liabilities. Is it a missed opportunity for Infosys?
No, we have never looked at significant acquisitions in India. We have always focused on acquisitions outside India from a strategic perspective, and so this was never on our radar at all.
But why?
See, we feel that if you look at even this year, we have added 25,000 employees in India and across the world, primarily in India. So adding employees, growing the business, is something which we have done. The model is not vastly different. What we want to do is look at acquisitions which give us new capability, new skills. It has to be a strategic fit, new geography and things like that. That is what we have been focusing on.
Shibu, it did not make sense. I mean, at that price, to buy this much of top line at half the cost, did you consider it? Or were you tempted as
What are you trying to say?
No, as Chris said, acquisition has to be strategic for us. It has to allow us to enhance our capability in a specific area, or do a country penetration like Australia and expert, or it should fill in a white space. Otherwise, we are fully capable of growing organically. As we can add 25,000 people, our training facilities, 14,000 people residential. We would have no problem in growing organically.
Bala, $2 billion in cash on your books, you weren't tempted. Let me finish it up with you.
No, see, acquisition is not all about valuation. That means we can buy a lot more companies across the world. Acquisition has to be synergistic. It should add value to the client, shareholders, employees, everybody. So we are looking at synergistic acquisition. Now valuation is one part of it.
Just a quick word, Bala, from you on how you're approaching foreign exchange in fiscal year 2010, your strategy?
See, there are two things. One is how the cross currencies are going to move and how rupee is going to move. On the cross currency, I think dollar could appreciate against all the global currencies in the short term. The long term, when the world starts focusing on weaknesses of US dollar, that could weaken. So we had taken some hedges for cross currency. I think at least 1/6 of our cover is cross currency. On rupee, we believe in the short term, rupee could be under pressure because there's political uncertainty, there's a high fiscal deficit, high trade deficit, all that will come into play. Even the FDIs are coming down. On the capital account, after some 10-14 years, we had negative FDI. So I think rupee will be under pressure. We have a hedging position of $506 million. In the beginning of the year, if you remember, we had close to $1 billion. We reduced it by half, and we are better off. I think in the whole industry, we manage the forex much better than anybody else.
Last word with you, Chris, before you go. Sorry, you want a question?
Yeah, just to flip that Satyam question around, Chris, do you see Tech Mahindra as a larger competitor amongst the domestic players now?
Clearly, with this acquisition, they become much larger, and so there is a different competitor at this point. But we have been always in an environment of competition, and that's not new.
Okay, let's take a quick break at that point. When we come back, the Infosys boardroom continues. Different members of the top management will also join in. We'll be right back.